Hello students, today we are going to see chapter number 4 of Moment's book in the Kingdom of Fools. Okay, this is also a very comic story. Uh, so basically I will give you certain what we say the introduction of chapter first of all. So Kannada is a regional language mainly spoken in the state of Karnataka. This story is Kannada folktale. Folktale का मतलब क्या होता है? Is a story which is passed on from one generation to another. It is taken from the book Folk Tales from India written by A.K. Ramanujan. First of all, let us discuss the title of the story. In the kingdom of fools, which means the state where people are not so wise, they are not intelligent. In this story, the king, his ministers, and his advisors are fools. That means that they are not wise and intelligent. When this kind of people rule the kingdom, then what all happens has been told in this story. Yeah. Now, let us start with your paragraph. In the kingdom of fools, both the king and the ministers were idiots. Idiots का मतलब होता है the people who are not intelligent. So, in the kingdom of fools, the king and his ministers were both unintelligent. Then, they did not want to run things like other kings, so they decided to change night into day and day into night. So, the king and his minister did not want to run their kingdom like other kings did. So, they decided to do something different. They started treating night as day and day as night. They ordered that the work which was done at night would be done during the daytime, and the work which was done during the daytime will be done during night time. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, till their fields and run their businesses only after dark, and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. So till का मतलब होता है here to cultivate land or land for farming. ठीक है. So what what they did, they passed an order that everyone in the kingdom worked at night, nobody would sleep at night, the farmers would do farming at night, and the ones who ran businesses would do business at night. As soon as the sun rose, everyone would go to sleep. If someone would disobey the order, he would be punished with death. Even sorry, uh, the people did The people did as they were told for the fear of death. The king and the ministers were delighted at the success of their project. So the people were scared that if they did not obey the king's order, they would be sentenced with death penalty. So they obeyed the order, although it was very strange. The king and his minister, both the fools, were very happy that all the people in the kingdom were following this order. One day, a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep, not a mouse stirring. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. So, stirring का मतलब होता है moving around. Guru means a saint. So, one day, a saint arrived in the kingdom of fools along with one of his disciples. He saw that it was a beautiful city. It was sunny day, but could not find anyone around. They were surprised. Everyone was asleep. And the writer says that a mouse was stirring. Mouse was stirring means moving around. So they could not find a single mouse moving around, which means that it was so quiet as everyone, even the tiniest creatures, the mice were asleep. Mice matlab चूहे हाँ. The people had taught their cattle to sleep during daytime. So everyone, human as well as animals, were sleeping. The two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening, when suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. So amazed means क्या होता है? Shocked. ठीक है? So these two strangers to the kingdom of fools were not aware that this kind of order had been passed in the city. So they were surprised to see that everyone was sleeping during daytime. They kept on wandering around in the whole city, and as soon as it was night, everyone woke up and started doing their business. Businessmen were doing business and farmers were farming. The next paragraph now. The two men were hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same, a single doodoo. Whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a single doodoo. Doodoo means money in Kannada language. The Guru and his disciple were hungry. When the shops opened at night, they went to buy groceries. They were surprised to see that whatever they bought from the shop cost one doodoo. The things which are very cheap out here. Whether you buy a big bunch of bananas or you buy a big bag of rice, it costed only one doodoo. One doodoo. Everything was at the same price in the kingdom of food. The Guru and his disciple were delighted. They had never heard anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. So the Guru and disciple were very happy because the food in this kingdom was very cheap. You could buy a lot of food just for a rupee. When they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools and it would not be a good idea for them to stay there. So, when the Guru and his disciple cooked and ate their food, the Guru realized that the kingdom was the kingdom of fools and decided not to stay there any longer because it was unsafe for them. Okay, this is no place for us. Let's go, he said to his disciple. तो गुरु जो था वो वाइस था, एकदम समझदार था, तो उसने अपने डिसाइबल को बोला कि लेट्स go out from this because this was not right for them, and ask him to leave at once. But the disciple did not want to leave the place. Everything was cheap here. All he wanted was good cheap food. ठीक है, तो डिसाइपल वॉज वेरी फूडी, जैसे मैं हूँ, आप लोगों को पता ही है. ही लव टू ईट एंड दैट इज वाई ही डिड नॉट वांट टू लीव दिस प्लेस बिकॉज द फूड वाज चीप देयर. और उसको सस्ते फूड में बहुत कुछ खाना था, जैसे चीज बर्गर, चीज पिज्जा, सब कुछ एक एक रुपए में मिलता है, तो कितना अच्छा लगता है, बराबर. नाउ नेक्स्ट द गुरु सेड, the Guru said that this all are fools, sorry, they are all fools. This won't last very long and you can't tell what they will do you do next. So Guru tried to make his disciple understand and told him that everyone out there was fool and was very dangerous. The kingdom would not last for a long time and they could harm them too. But the disciple would not listen to Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. So disciple is not foresighted like his Guru. Foresighted का मतलब होता है आगे का देख नहीं पा रहा था, जो गुरु ने देख लिया था. Foresighted like his Guru and could not understand what his Guru was trying to say. He wanted to live there only and enjoy the cheap food. The Guru finally gave up and said, "Do what you want. I am going." And left. तो finally गुरु जी जो है वो चले गए. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, bananas and geese and rice and wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. ठीक है, तो एकदम मोटा हो गया. The disciple stayed back in the kingdom of fools. Every day he ate lot of food, due to which he became fat as huge bull. Now next paragraph. One day, one bright day, a thief broke into rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall, and sneaked in. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall on the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. So क्या हुआ एक दिन? One day, a thief entered merchant's house. He made a hole into wall to gain access. When he was about to move out of the house after looting all the things, the wall broke and fell down on his head, and he died there only. So his brother ran to the king and complained, "Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice." तो pursuing का मतलब क्या होता है? दिस वर्ड pursuing, ठीक है, उसका मतलब होता है follow. and ancient trade मतलब क्या होता है, refers to the theft there. So अब क्या हुआ उस स्टोरी में, the thief's younger brother went to the king and complained that his brother was following his ancient trade, मतलब robbing is a crime. While he was working, the wall fell on his head and he died. The thief's brother was taking advantage of king's foolishness. He said that the merchant whose wall has fallen down on his brother was the culprit. He said, he should have made a strong wall. He requested the king to punish the merchant and compensation for his family. तो compensation क्या होता है, जो भी मरने से जितना भी उसका नुकसान हुआ होता है, ठीक है, वो सब compensate करना पड़ता है. The king said, "Justice will be done, don't worry," and at once summoned the owner of the house. तो राजा ने क्या बताया, इंसाफ होगा, हम करेंगे इंसाफ, ऐसा something like that. और summon means सबको इकट्ठा करना. So the king was so foolish that he did not consider the fact that the dead man was committing the theft at the time of at the time of his death. He only thought that the man died because the wall fell on him, and the owner of the house whose wall fell on him had to be punished. So he called the merchant. Next paragraph. So, when the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, "What's your name?" "Such and such, your highness." "Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house?" "Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him." The accused pleads guilty. "Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you." ठीक है, तो अब यहाँ से इंटरेस्टिंग स्टार्ट होता है. तो as soon as the merchant appeared, the king asked his name. Then the king asked him whether he was at home when the dead man, the thief, was burgling his house. The merchant replied that he was at home only. The thief made a hole in the wall and entered his house, and when he was trying to go out, the wall fell down on him because it was weak. Then the king told the merchant that he was guilty. He did wrong. Due to his weak wall, the thief died, and now he would be punished. So, next passage, or you can say next paragraph. "Lord," says the helpless merchant, "I did not put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He did not build it right. You should punish him." "Who is that?" "My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby." तो इसने भी भाई साहब ने एक नई कहानी बनाई थी. वो कहानी ऐसी है कि द मर्चेंट प्लीडेड, रिक्वेस्टेड इन द, मतलब रिक्वेस्ट किया इन फ्रंट ऑफ किंग, requested that, "My lord, it was not my fault. The wall was weak because the person who made the wall did not construct it properly. Hence, you should punish him." And further, he added that the wall was made during his father's time. The person who built it was very old. He knew him as he lived nearby. अब तो राजा पागल हो गया था. अब इसकी भी कहानी मान ली. The king sent out message to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him tied hand and foot. So bricklayer मतलब जो person who lays the brick and builds the wall. So the king sent his soldier to call the bricklayer who built the wall. They tied his hand and feet and brought him in the king's palace. "You there, did you build this man's walls in his father's time?" "Yes, my lord, I did." तो उसने भी ऐसा, राजा ने पूछा कि क्या तुमने ही भी ये सब बांधकाम वगैरह किया था? तो उसने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया कि हाँ, मैंने ही किया था. So what kind of wall is that you built? It has fallen on poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by that. The king said, "The man has built a weak wall. The wall fell on poor thief head and killed him. The bricklayer would be punished for this with death." ठीक है. Now next, before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded, "Please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true I built this wall and it was no good. But that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I could not keep my eyes or mind On the walls I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. तो उसने क्या बोला, उसने अब अपना जो इल्जाम अपने ऊपर जो लगाया था उसने किसी और पे डाल दिया, ठीक है। तो अब everyone is passing on the blame to another person. When the king was about to pass an order to execute the bricklayer, he requested the king to listen to him. He agreed that he did not make the wall properly. It was because of a girl who was roaming around in the street and her anklets were making a jingling sound. Due to her anklets jingle sound, he was not able to concentrate on his work and so built a weak wall. It was not his mistake. It was the fault of that girl. He added that he knew where the dancing girl lived. She should be punished instead of him. ठीक है, तो उसने अपना ब्लेम पूरा डाल दिया वो लड़की पर. Now what this Raja said or king said, you're right, the case deepened. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get that dancer wherever she is. The king was satisfied with Bricklayer's explanation. He was convinced with him. He tells this case is very complicated and will not be able to solve it so easily. He ordered his messenger to get the dancer girl. अब चोर मरा, चोर को तो कुछ उसने किया ही नहीं, लेकिन उसके अलावा वो घर के हाउस कीपर को, वो ब्रिकलेयर को, वो लेडी को, वो सबको ऐसा समझ रहा है कि अब ये जो है केस जो है कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होता जा रहा है. नाउ सुनना. The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to court. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him? Yes, my lord, I remember it very well. So you did walk up and down with your anklet jinglings. You were young and you distracted him, so he built a bad wall. Next, it has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be punished. So अब dancing girl को क्या order दिया, ध्यान से देखना. The dancing girl had become an old woman and she was trembling मतलब ध्रुजना, and she entered the court. The king asked her that many years ago was she dancing and roaming around in the lane while the bricklayer was constructing the wall. Her movement distracted him. She confirmed him. He told her that as she was roaming around with her jingling, it distracted the bricklayer. Due to this, he could not do his work properly. He built a bad wall which fell on the thief and he was killed. It was because of her that the thief died and she would be punished with the death. Now, ध्यान से सुनना वापस. अब ये अपना इल्जाम किसके ऊपर डालती है वो देखो. He thought for a minute and said, my lord, wait, I know I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. सो गोल्डस्मिथ कौन होता है, तो गोल्डस्मिथ होता है जो पर्सन ऑर्नामेंट बनाते हैं, एंड स्काउंड्रल अ डिसऑनेस्ट पर्सन. ठीक है, यहाँ पे गाली नहीं है, ये डिसऑनेस्ट पर्सन को स्काउंड्रल बोलते हैं. सो dancing girl transferred the blame onto another person. She said that she was roaming around this lane again and again because she had to visit goldsmith's shop. She had given some gold to him to make jewelry out of it. He was dishonest person. He was making excuses for not making her ornaments in time. He kept on asking her to come after some time. Due to this, he had to go to his house at least dozen times. So the dancing girl said that it was the fault of Goldsmith. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damn goldsmith fault. तो उसने सीधा अपना जो fault था उसने किस पे डाल दिया, goldsmith के ऊपर. So further, this dancing girl said that when the bricklayer saw her and got distracted, it was the fault of goldsmith because of whom she was roaming in the lane again and again. Next. Poor thing, she is absolutely right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith wherever he is hiding at once. So now the king says that poor dancing girl was totally right. He thought a lot and finally said that now they knew who the real culprit was. He ordered to bring the goldsmith. Next, the king bailiff searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in the corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. ठीक है, एक्यूजेशन मतलब क्या होता है, किसी का अपने मतलब अपने ऊपर ब्लेम करना या किसी और के ऊपर ब्लेम करते हैं ना, उसको बोलते हैं बेलिफ्स जो होते हैं उसको क्या बोलते हैं, लॉ ऑफिसर हु मेक श्योर दैट द डिसीजन ऑफ द कोर्ट आर ओबेड. सॉरी. So यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, the bailiffs in the court were sorry court went in search of Goldsmith and brought him to the court. The goldsmith was hiding inside his shop as he feared being arrested. When he was brought in front of king, he told his side of the story. अब Goldsmith ने अपनी कहानी सुना दी. My lord, he said, I am poor goldsmith. It's true I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. They had a wedding coming and they would not wait. You know how impatient rich men are. तो इसने अपना fault rich merchants पे डाल दिया. So he said that dancing girl was right. He made many excuses and made her visit his shop again and again, but it was not his fault. He had an order from rich merchant and they had wedding at their place and were in hurry to get their order, and that is why the dancing girl's work was getting delayed. Now the king is saying, who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry, made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man. और को वो क्या बोल रहा है, innocent man, and kill him. Can you name him? The king asked the goldsmith to name the rich merchant. ठीक है. Now, Goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. Now, justice had come full circle, thought the king back to the merchant when he was rudely summoned back to the court. He arrived crying, it was not me but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead, I am innocent. तो पूरा सर्कल मार के स्टोरी वापस कहाँ पे आके रुकी, जिस मर्चेंट के घर पे चोरी हुई थी, जिस मर्चेंट की दीवार टूटी थी, उसी मर्चेंट पे वापस ब्लेम आ गया. So the goldsmith said that the merchant was the same merchant whose house was a wall had fallen down. Justice has come full circle means the story ended at the same person from whom it had started. The thief died under the wall of the same merchant whose jewelries this goldsmith was making. Once again the merchant was called. He was crying and he knew that the king was foolish and he would give him that sentence. He said that it was not he who had ordered the jewelry, but it was his father. His father was dead and it was none of his fault. तो उसने बोला कि भाई मेरा पप्पा तो मर गया लेकिन अब मेरी क्या गलती है, तो अब क्या हुआ. But the king consulted his ministers and ruled decisively. It's true your father is the true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the roof of this horrible crime. You must die. So king consulted his minister and gave the decision that the merchant's father was the murderer. The thief died because of him, as the merchant's father was not alive and someone had to be punished for the crime. So he said that the merchant's son, who had inherited everything from his father, would have to take punishment for his wrongdoing as well. He added that when he had seen the merchant for the first time, at that moment he had a feeling that he was the culprit. The king announced that now the merchant would have to die. ठीक है, मर्चेंट को बोला कि भाई अब तुमको ही मरना पड़ेगा. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. As the servant sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that rich merchant was somehow too thin to be probably executed on the stake. He appealed the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. ठीक है? Now, stake क्या होता है? A post with a sharp pointed end used to pierce through something. Execution, an official killing of someone. और इम्पेलिंग जो वर्ड है, इम्पेलिंग उसका मतलब होता है टू पुश अ शार्प पॉइंटेड पोस्ट थ्रू समथिंग. So when this new weapon was getting ready, the minister felt that the merchant was very thin and he could not be executed in this way. He told this to the king and king got worried. What shall we do? He said. Well, suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to feed that stake. If the servant, sorry, तो अब क्या हुआ? The king got an idea that they should catch hold of a man who was fat enough to be executed with that stake. वो merchant को तो मार नहीं सकते थे क्योंकि वो पतला है. तो अब किसी मोटे इंसान को ढूंढो. The merchant would not be put to death because he was too thin to be executed with stake. They thought of punishing another person instead of merchant, one who was fat enough to be executed with a stake. तो पतले को छोड़ के अब मोटे को मारो ऐसा. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and beets and ghee. तो क्या हुआ? Finally, the king sent his servant around the kingdom to look for a man who was fat enough to be executed. They found Guru's disciple who had become very fat of even eating. Overeating की वजह से वो इतना मोटा हो गया था कि उसने क्या किया, सब लोगों ने मिलके उसी को पकड़ दिया. ठीक है. What I have done wrong? I am innocent. I am sannyasi, he cried. That may be true, but it's the royal decree that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. ठीक है. तो डिक्री का मतलब होता है ऑर्डर. The disciple said that he was a sannyasi, he had not done anything wrong, he was innocent. Then why were they taking him? The king's servant said that he was innocent, but they were ordered to catch the hold of fat man who could be executed with a stake, and he was fit for it, and that is why they were taking him along. He remembered his wise guru's words, this is city of fools, you don't know what they will do next. फिर उसको अपने गुरुजी की याद आई. ठीक है. तो the disciple is reminded of his guruji. Guruji, who was wise man, had told him that it was a city of fools and they could harm him. Now they were taking him along to execute him. ठीक है. While he was waiting for that, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. He could see far, and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. So the helpless disciple prayed his guru and asked him to come to his rescue. The guru could visualize the disciple's message due to his magical power. He could see everything. He could see the future, the present, and the past. He could see everything in the vision. ठीक है? Now next, he arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. So उसने क्या किया? गुरु जो थे वो वापस आ गए. Disciple was trapped in a difficult and serious situation. They were about to execute him, although he had not done anything wrong. So the Guru came to rescue him from this situation. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? ठीक है. तो जैसे ही गुरु आए, गुरु ने अपने डिसाइपल को डाटा कि नतीजा देख लिया मेरी बात नहीं सुनने का, ठीक है। सो as the guru met his disciple, he scolded him because he did not obey him and stayed back. He whispered something in his ears. फिर क्या बोला कि wisest of kings, who is greater, the guru or disciple? Of course the guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first, put my disciple to the death after me. अब क्या हुआ? The guru tried to trap the king in his word. He asked him who was greater between a guru and disciple. The king replied that obviously guru was greater. The guru said that for this reason the king must execute him before executing his disciple. ठीक है, गुरु ने ऐसा बोल दिया कि पहले मुझे टांगो, उसके बाद मेरे डिसाइपल को टांगना, ठीक है। When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor, me first, you brought me here first, put me to the dead first, not him. ठीक है, तो जैसे ही ये बताया वो समझ गया उसका डिसाइपल कि ये कुछ चाल चल रहे हैं. तो when disciple heard his guru's words, he started shouting that he wanted to die first. The guru and disciple now got into fight about who should go first. The king was puzzled by this behavior. He asked the Guru, why do you want to die? We choose him because we needed a fat man for the state. तो उसने क्या बताया? When the Guru and disciple started arguing that who would die first, the king got confused. He asked the Guru that why did he want to die? They had caught the disciple because he was fat and they wanted a fat man who could be executed with the stake. So you should not ask me such questions. Put me to the death first, replied Guru. तो गुरु ने बताया भाई फालतू के सवाल मत करो, पहले मुझे डेथ पे डालो. Why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. So उन्होंने बोला कि ये क्यों? King felt that there was some mystery behind it. The Guru wanted to die before his disciple and was so eager to die. There must be some reason behind it. Now next. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the Guru. So the Guru asked the king to promise him that he should execute him or he would execute him first if he told him the secret about why he wanted to be executed first. The king gave him his solemn word. The Guru took him aside out of servant earshot and whispered to him, do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is a stake of the God of justice. It's new. It's have never had a criminal on it. ठीक है, तो अब जो है गुरु ने अपनी बातों में उसको फंसा दिया. कैसे फंसाया? द किंग प्रॉमिस दैट ही वुड एग्जीक्यूट हिम फर्स्ट. देन गुरु टुक द किंग aside and slowly told him that they had roamed around the whole world but had not seen a city and king like him. He added that the stake which they would use to kill the disciple was the stake of justice, as it was new, it had not killed any criminal. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country. तो उसने क्या बोला? Further he said that one who would die first on this stake would be reborn as the king of the same kingdom. By telling this, he is trying to trap the king. ठीक है, और king को उसने झांसे में ले लिया. And whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country. We are sick of our aesthetic life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first. Remember. So aesthetic life का मतलब होता है सन्यासी लाइफ, स्ट्रिक्ट लाइफ, लाइफ ऑफ अ डिसिप्लिन. सो द वन हु डाइड सॉरी तो गुरु ने क्या बताया कि द वन हु डाइड next would be reborn as the minister of the kingdom. The Guru added that he was tired of the life of sannyasi. He and his disciple wanted to live the life of king and minister. So he says that the king execute him first so that he is reborn as king, and after him his disciple should be executed so that he is reborn as minister. The king was now thrown into deep thought. He did not want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. So he needed time. So he ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. Postponed मतलब क्या कर दिया उसने थोड़ी देर के लिए delay कर दिया. After listening to the guru, the king was indeed thought he did not want that in next life his kingdom to be snatched away from him. He discussed this with his ministers. So it's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let's go on and stake ourselves and we will reborn as king and minister again. Holy men, do not tell lies, he said, and the minister agreed. So the king told his minister that he did not want that in the next life his kingdom be taken away. He added that the person was a holy man and holy men did not speak lies. He said that they should die first so that they are reborn as kings and minister of the kingdom. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminal tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to the death first, then do the same to the second. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. The king told his executioners that he would send the criminals at night. Firstly, they should execute the person who comes first and then execute the second person. They should be careful and not to make any mistake. Next. That night the king and the minister were sent secretly to the prison, released the guru and disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and as arranged beforehand with loyal servants were taken to stake and promptly executed. So at night the king and his minister went to prison where the guru and his disciple were kept. They wore the clothes of guru and disciple so that they resembled them. As it was told to the servants, they came and took them along and put them into stake for execution. In this way, his intelligence, the Guru was able to execute his foolish king and foolish ministers. Next, sorry. When the bodies were taken down to be thrown to the crows and vultures, the people panicked. Panicked का मतलब होता है frightened, घबराहट से. So क्या हुआ? जब डेड बॉडीज को वहां से निकाला तो पता चला कि ये डेड बॉडीज तो किंग और मिनिस्टर की है, तो लोगों में एकदम से पैनिकनेस आ गई. They saw before them the dead bodies of king and the minister. The city was in confusion. ठीक है? So everyone was trembling because the dead bodies were not of guru and disciple. Instead, they were the bodies of king and the minister. All night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of guru and disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town unnoticed. So everyone in the kingdom was mourning the death of the king and his minister. In the morning, some people thought of guru and his disciple and felt that they should go to them. As the guru and disciple were planning to leave the kingdom, the people stopped. We people need a king and minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the guru and disciple to be their king and their minister. It did not take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the guru. ठीक है, तो क्या हुआ? जो people थे, people of kingdom thought that they need a king and minister, so they requested guru and his disciple to be the new king, new king and the minister of the kingdom. The disciple agreed quickly, but it took some time to make guru agree upon this. So they finally agreed to rule the kingdom of foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they could change all the old laws. From then on, night would be night again, and day would be day, and you could get nothing for to do. It became like any other place. So the Guru agreed to be the king of the kingdom, but on the condition that from then everyone would work in day and sleep at night. Also, the cost of things would be vary and not be one to do for anything else was the system earlier. It would be like any other place where everything has different rates. Finally, the Guru converted the kingdom of fools into normal kingdom. That's the end of our story. Thank you very much.